Fred,
Good.
wait a minute. Why? Something's wrong.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
Morning.
Okay, that's better.
Roseanne's coming up.
And Felicia has a camera.
I do.
Yes.
Took a while, but I do.
You know what else, Felicia? She's
What?
revealed that she has quite skilled writing skills as well. You kept that under wraps, Felicia.
I did.
Well, now I know.
But yeah,
No, thank you. What you wrote for Keta was just terrific. Really reads well.
good.
And Roseanne, I'm sorry you didn't get my original mailing. That was weird.
I did, but I didn't go in. Elise always sends it with a separate thing to go into the Zoom meeting, and I didn't
Oh, yeah.
know. I just reviewed the minutes and I didn't even see that.
Okay, good. Because I
Thank you.
use the AOL account, which is probably not a smart thing to do.
No, it was fine once you know where it is. I just
Okay.
didn't know it was there.
Jay Gustafaro has asked for a file which his computer lost, so he should join us. There's Susan. Good. Rosalie is there, although she's on mute.
Oh, she is? Huh.
Yeah. Susan is on mute.
Yeah, I just did ask to unmute. I don't know how that looks from the other end.
There you are.
There we go.
Susan?
Yep, I didn't realize it was embedded in the agenda. So I was looking for a loop like we usually get. So
Yep. That's because I had stuff to add to it. Good morning, Rosalie. How can Rosalie be in two places?
I think she signed on with 2 devices.
Rosalie, can you hear us?
Huh.
God, is it blowing like mad?
Fred, I can't even tell you. I just came flying in the building because I had a morning of frozen pipes and just furniture I mean, my house is just, it's coming right in Lanes Cove. Like there were surfable waves coming through the Lanes Cove wall. Like it was just insane over there. West northwest, it hits just dead on, and it just, oh my God, my house got it bad. Everything. Screens came off of my windows. They blew off. I mean, stuff was all over the place.
Welcome to coastal living.
Oh, it's awesome. My car's covered in oceans like spray. It's filthy. I got to go get it washed today, but it's worth it because
Yes, we got just a coating of salt on the whole front of the house.
yeah.
Yes.
So I think once everybody's squared away, I need to kind of excuse myself for just a second and go hit the ladies' room because I did literally just come running into my office. So
Well, we have enough to get started for a quorum, but I want to be sure Rosalie can hear us.
I know. Rosalie, can you hear us? Right. We can't hear you though. Yeah.
Jay, can you hear us?
Oh, it doesn't seem it. Jay, can you hear us?
Not yet.
Okay, let's see. I get someone on the phone.
Who is
Val.
4682?
I'm not able to get onto my Zoom right now, so I'm calling in.
4682, is that Val?
It sounds like maybe, is that you, Val?
621-4682, yeah, that's me.
Yep, that's Val. I can barely hear you.
I'm trying to get into Zoom on my city iPad, and it says your meeting should start in a few seconds.
hurry up.
Huh.
Oh, get in.
Val, did you click the link that was embedded in the agenda that Fred sent? I think you must have.
Now are we connected?
I don't think there's anything more I can do. I did ask to unmute when I had that option, but the option is only there for some of them.
All right, well, I'll keep trying to log on Zoom in the meantime.
Now, there you are, Val. I can hear you now.
Can you hear her well, Fred? I can barely hear her.
Well, nothing now. And there's two of Rosalie.
All right, I can listen in on the
There you are.
phone and I'll try to get in Zoom.
Oh, that was just much better, Val.
Okay. I'm
I
on
can
the
hear you
speaker
much
now.
better now.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Elise?
Yes, I
now I
finally
can.
can. Yay.
Okay.
Where's Selma? And Bob Tweedy?
Oh, there's Val.
Wait, I'm coming up on Zoom now.
Okay, there's
you
All
are.
right, so
Val.
I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna hang up and I'm here.
Okay.
Two Rosalies again.
No, I shut it off, didn't I?
Oh,
Wait a minute.
Now you're feeding back.
But I heard Jay too.
I'm supposed to be the Zoom pro because I live on Zoom and here I am struggling getting on this morning.
No, I'm sorry. I was sending things with my quorum list for votes, so that I missed your name and my error. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, I'll be right back. I think I've done everything I can do to help with tech stuff. I'll be right back.
Okay. I think we can start. Yes, we have a quorum. I would like to open this meeting of Gloucester's Council on Aging. Today is Tuesday, March the 2nd, 2021, and it's roughly 9:30 in the morning. And we are meeting via remote. I'd have to read this statement from the governor's office, which is consistent with the governor's orders suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and banning gatherings of more than 25 people. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation to the greatest extent possible. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time. And by way of introduction, we should do a roll call, please, starting with Barry.
Barry McKay.
And Elise is not there. Rosalie, you're on mute now. You've gone mute somehow. There you are.
Rosina Castro.
Great. Felicia?
Felicia Webb.
Jerry.
Good. Roseanne?
Suzanne Cody.
Susan?
Susan Goodall.
Val?
Val Gilman.
Jay? He'll be along in a minute. And I'm delighted to introduce Suzanne. Welcome.
Thank you, Suzanne Silvera.
Good. Why don't, Suzanne, tell us a bit about your interest in Council on Aging while we're waiting for the other two to show. What draws you particularly to want to work with us?
Well, I've been interested in getting involved with another city board of commission.
Yep.
And Safathia approached me about joining the Council for Aging.
Cool.
I'm very interested in helping out where I can.
Fine. You've just filled all the criteria. You will find this is an energetic group.
I can tell.
Yeah, it's really,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. It's not smoke and mirrors. We get a lot done.
Welcome aboard.
Yes, well,
Thank you, Rosalie.
Jay, can you sign in, please? Jay Gustafaro? Let's see half of him. Well, you'll just have to believe that he's here.
I see his hand, so.
Yeah, I think, okay. Let's see. First item up is approval of the minutes of February the 2nd, 2021. Are there any additions, subtractions, or changes anybody want to put through? Hearing none, please, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
Motion to approve minutes.
Thank you, Barry. Is there a second, please?
I second it.
Thank you, Susan. Is there any further discussion? We have to do this approval by roll call, starting with Rosalie, please.
I approve.
Thank you. Barry,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Roseanne,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
Felicia,
Yes.
and Jay, can you hear us? Not yet. Val, you don't vote on this, correct?
I don't, but they did look very good.
Okay, no changes. Great, and I vote to approve. So that's unanimous. Great, thank you. I like this tradition of going around the boards. Suzanne, if I didn't explain it last time, rather than leave it to the end, which a lot of organizations do, I like to go around the table for updates of what people are doing or interested in, particularly on subjects that are not on the agenda, the things that ideas come to you. And then I'll circle back at the end as well, so that if ideas come to you after we've dealt with a subject, everybody gets one more shot to say what's on your mind. Because if you look at the minutes, a lot is happening that people are doing. And sometimes people can get lost in the rush. So Rosalie, want to bring us up to date what you've been doing?
Sure. My Seniors on the Go bus, we go out every day from Tuesday to Friday. On Tuesday, we've been doing a mystery trip. And in February, every Tuesday, there was bad weather, except for last Tuesday. So we did go out on our mystery trip, and we went to Henry's Market. And Kata is wonderful to us. There was a bus driver named Lisa. She was wonderful to all the seniors. They really cater. We had full capacity, which is 9 people. One of the lady was in a wheelchair, and they get right on the bus, and Lisa does all that. And they went to Henry's, and they bought their little groceries. Then Lisa took them home via the Shore Road, and they love it. They love going by, seeing the ocean, talking about old times, what used to be here, what used to be there, reminiscing. They just have a wonderful time getting out and talking. With this COVID, they're all stuck in the house and they're not talking to anybody. So they really enjoyed it. We are going out on another mystery trip on March 9th. And I'll tell you, but don't repeat it, it's a secret. I think we're going to Job Lots.
I don't even know what it is.
Go someplace, it's in Danvers. Up by where Market Basket is.
Oh.
And we have to go someplace where you can get food. And they do sell a lot of nice, healthy foods in there. So that'll be nice. We give them an hour to shop, and then we'll take the Shore Road home. And the new thing with Seniors on the Go bus, we not only pick up people in the Gloucester Housing Authority buildings, we pick people up in their houses now. So it's open to everybody. So I have about 4 people at private residences that Kata Bus will be picking up.
What's the
So
process
that'll be
for
on
making
March 9th.
what's the process for making a reservation?
They call me. They call me, they make reservations with me, and then on Monday, I'll call Renee, who works for Kata, who's wonderful. She's like my right arm, and I'll give Kata the list of people, the addresses, and their telephone numbers.
Right.
So Kata always has a list of who is on in their addresses and telephone numbers. Kata has a list of, and she'll call me and say, Rosalie, this is where we're going. And I tell the people, we'll be at your house at approximately this time. And we pick, it's very smooth operation.
Good.
And we have everybody home by at least by 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And they've had a good time.
Rosalie, for the minutes, what telephone number for you, please?
978-491-9175.
Cool.
And I asked them to call before Friday. I have flyers out there. At least put it in the newsletter. So, and we should be starting our walk in the boulevard, seeing where spring is coming.
Yeah, wonderful. Good stuff.
Val?
Barry?
Yeah, through the chair, can I just ask Rosalie a quick question?
Sure.
So Rosalie, I love the pictures and I love the fact that you're so creative. I'm wondering if, because we're still in social distancing mode, that if when you have the pictures, you could say it's a full bus based on social distancing requirements. Just kind of add that right in the next line so people know that you're not going higher than 9. The bus holds what, 25 or whatever. You know what I mean? Just kind of make it 4 extra words in the pictures, because I'm anticipating someone's going to judge, and I don't want them to judge because we are doing so well. And I just thought.
Thank you. And the bus does hold 15, and we all are spaced out. We can fit a little extra one because the lady in the wheelchair is way in the back, and there isn't anybody with her, but everyone is spaced out.
Complying to the requirements, and that's important.
Yeah, thank you for that. And the other thing is with Mass Emotions and Senior on the Go, we'll be making bags. Bank Gloucester donated 350 bags. The Institute of Savings donated 100 bags, and we'll be putting in a booklet on healthy living style for the seniors. And I have some freebies that I got from the public health nurse. So I'm working on that with Jennifer, and we should be passing those out next month. And they'll be going to Manchester, Essex, and KPN, and Rockport. There'll be a bunch of little goodies and a healthy, you know, how to exercise and eat
Yeah.
well, things like that.
You'll be putting sunscreen in before you know it.
I know. I can't wait. So we're busy. We're busy.
I know you're always busy, but I like to hear it. Barry, what's on your mind?
Not a lot on my mind. Been busy with the Senior Resource Directory.
We'll get to it.
All of the requests are out to the various resources. We've gotten 2 back. I expect any number in this week, which should finish it off in the sense of getting the approvals, then is pulling it together. One of the things that came up in the past week as I was working on this, and if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, Rosalie,
Yeah.
should we set and put the Go Bus in as a resource unto itself? Or should it be attached possibly with CADIS?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, the Go Bus is up and running, and you're doing mystery trips, which are great for the seniors because it brings back all the trips they used to drive through the shore road, as we all call it. But should we put it in as its own freestanding resource?
That's a decision really from Susan and your committee. Because you'll be, I'm sure, faced with lots of these issues from a policy standpoint. Barry, what's your thinking on this? I'm more interested in a leadership coming from you as a suggestion. Do you think this is a good idea to do this?
Oh, I think having it in the resource list, the more I thought about it, I almost got to the point of writing it in and asking Felicia to take a peek at it initially. And
Yeah.
I had an email all set to go to Rosalie, never got it out the door to ask about it. But again, something we can talk about in the next working group, but
Yeah.
getting it in because it's out there functioning and it's very much a senior resource.
Exactly. I think as things become more and more prominent, they deserve a separate listing on their own.
Yes, I think Felicia's agreeing. She's nodding. So,
Cool.
okay, we'll go as a separate listing. That's easy.
Okay, Felicia, what's on your mind, please?
Not much. Kata did participate, and well, we took people to the February vaccination down at Freesport. We
Yep.
actually had 2 people make reservations. We got them down there. Everything went very smoothly. We're working with the health department, Elise, some other people in Gloucester, so that we can get people over to the site in Danvers because that's the closest one to us right now.
Okay,
So we're working through that, and that's about all.
fine. Suzanne, what's anything on your mind?
Well, I'm interested in getting more involved with the activities at the senior center and helping out with any of the groups that need help.
Good.
Also, as we move forward, I'll be hoping to get seniors involved with the 400th because I'm on the committee.
Yes. Great. See, that's the kind of thing that comes out of this round robin that we wouldn't know about. Cool. Roseanne.
You were very clear when you wrote you forwarded Miranda's message about the quilt unveiling. And I don't think Karen Carroll read it completely. She was concerned, well, not concerned, but she wanted to have a time that they could invite family members to view the quilt. And in that, it does say that the museum, it will be free with advance notice from Thursday 3/11 to Sunday 3/14 from 12:30 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
So the family members can see the quilt at that point.
Yes.
It's going to be on the green. Things are going to be done in that building and on the green. And if they go in the evening, it's probably a better deal because they're hired Luminarts to do that colorful light show they do.
Yeah.
And that's going to go on for 4 days. So it would be nice to witness that as well. That'll be going on the night of the 10th when they do the unveiling. So it's going to be really special. They have a non-denominational person coming from the what's the name of the organization that all of the churches belong to? They have a representative. I can't think of-
Interfaith?
Interfaith, thank you. And they're having somebody come from the interfaith to do a blessing or say a prayer or whatever, kind of encompass everyone.
Yeah.
And Bruce Tarr will be there, and Ann Margaret and Safathia. It's only going to people who have people who pass can't come because of the social distancing,
Yes.
but they also have it. You can sign up and you can see it on YouTube, or you can sign up ahead of time and with the Facebook for the museum's page. And that's all in the email that you sent.
Yep.
So if anyone wants to see it 6 o'clock at night on the 10th, they'll be able to see the unveiling and the little ceremony they're having.
Susan,
That's that.
Nothing but the resource directory, and that's on the agenda. And I
Okay.
just want to say what a nice job was done. You did such a great job on that quilt and getting that all organized. It's very impressive, and it didn't take that much time, which is amazing.
No, it really was amazing, Susan. Miranda and I worked so well together, and I flew home for 3 days and put a lot of the pieces of the puzzle together, and Miranda just followed through and took the ball and ran. And what I did, who I didn't know, or the connections I didn't have, she had, and it just meshed. It was terrific. So the Capian Museum, kudos to them for allowing her to have kind of free reign. She kept meeting with Oliver, but he was pretty good, and everything fell into place. Thank you.
cool. Val, something on your mind? You're on mute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the thing that comes by in front of me the most regarding seniors in Gloucester right now is how do I get on the vaccine list? So that continues to be the issue of the day. And I like how when you call the Council on Aging now and you call Elise right off, she's very clear that you call senior care and this is a number to call. And you're very, very clear. I think the more we can just keep getting that message out citywide, the better. You know, the kind of a standard things on the website, just a link to, you know, we just have to keep communicating that because people are just nervous and they're edgy and they're frustrated with the system. So that, you know, and I think we've done a good job with trying to anticipate that people are frustrated and giving them help resources is great. So I appreciate that. And I think the more we can keep doing that, the better.
Agreed. Is Jay Gustaferro lurking behind that sign that says iPhone? Nope. Then we have director's report with Elise.
Can I do my, just a little like kind of,
You can do anything you want.
not director's report, not on the
Fine.
agenda, but my kind of little check-in
Yes, please.
is just, that, yeah, like what Val just said, like it's really intense. You know, when we had and we will get to the vaccines, the official stuff that's on the agenda, but I'm becoming more acutely aware of when I was getting my MSW of just, you know, the stuff that's baked into the process for people that do clinical work to kind of give you a mechanism to offload the emotional stuff that's coming at you.
Yeah.
And when I got my MSW, I did my clinical field placement at a rape crisis center. So, I mean, it was very intense stuff. And baked into that process is that you spend at least an hour a week with a supervisor, and that's your own little chance for the person who's other people's therapist to get, you know, to get some therapy themselves. And so I'm becoming more aware of just that need in this kind of context to reach out to somebody and try to get myself hooked up with something like that and try to see if like Ann needs that as well.
Yeah.
Because it's really just, people are incredibly emotional. There was you know, there's just, I could tell you about a million interactions and they're gut wrenching because people are extremely emotional about wanting the vaccine and the flow is just still not coming in. So So yeah, it's been, we could talk about that more because the vaccine is certainly on the agenda, but I think that just that kind of offshoot of like, the staff and how it's, how it's impacting me and how it's impacting potentially the rest of the staff too. And then I also kind of along that same vein of just emotional stuff that that I think is in this role right now, whereas, I don't know how it would be like in normal non-COVID times. In this role, I'm sure there was emotionally impactful stuff as well. I'm positive of it. But I do know that, like, yesterday I had to refamiliarize myself with the fact that I'm a mandated reporter, and that if I see a situation where there's potential elder abuse or self-neglect, which falls under the heading of elder abuse, that I'm mandated to report that to the state. And really grateful for our partnership with Senior Care and that Senior Care has their elder abuse kind of department, which is, them being the local ASAP. It kind of goes to the state and then it gets funneled through them. They're actually involved in that process of determining whether or not it needs to be investigated or not. So they worked really closely with me on a situation that I became aware of that's been, that just to say it's weighing on you is, it just would be an understatement. It would weigh on any of us here. And so had to kind of make my first report in that capacity, and was just reminded by Senior Care that we are all here in this building, because we interact frequently with seniors. We are all mandated reporters, whether we are a social worker professionally or not. We all are. So
Yes.
I've just become kind of recently acutely aware of that role and that requirement. And we'll try to get some training. I'll be working with Senior Care to get some training for the whole staff to just remind everybody of what their
Good.
responsibilities as mandated reporters, what
Good.
those responsibilities are. So
Right.
yeah, so really super happy to see everybody. This feels like a little relief in and of itself to just see all of you and feel the team behind me with so much stuff going on. That does feel very emotional, heightened, so.
Yep. Yeah, I was 30 years at AIDS Action in a whole host and variety of capacities. And they were about 10 years before they really developed the program to deal with care for the caregiver and the lasting effect of things, because there was such an insistence that it was going to be over soon enough, and that people who were there volunteering, the people would say, no, that's the person who's in trouble. You're fine. There'll be plenty of time for you later. And that got us later in trouble because we didn't have a mechanism for talking about ourselves. It was somehow considered out of line to do that. And we were allowed to become exhausted and still going back for more. So you are so correct to be talking about this now. And anything I can do to help to enable an off-site counsel for you or your staff, I can and would do that in a heartbeat. Because since my first 10 years at AIDS Action, every 2 weeks for 90 minutes, I've been able to talk about myself in order to never let things get out of control or too large, just and to be focused, to decide how I'm going to spend that 90 minutes and what is paramount in my head. What have I been able to deal with? What have I shelved? And it's crucial. The long haul of this is crucial, particularly with COVID, which I think is going to continue to be showing itself long after people are thought to have been recovered, that there will be lasting after effects of this virus that are only in the reveal process, much like HIV, where we imagined that with the arrival of triple therapies that those persons were all saved, only to discover pernicious cancers that had been allowed to get a foothold when people's immune systems were so seriously compromised. And that it was 2, 3, 4 years later that these symptoms began to appear, and they were all interrelated. So we're not done with COVID. The vaccine is a godsend. I don't know how else to phrase it. I've had my first shot, so I have that sense of the cloud beginning to lift, and it'll have to be something else that will kill me. It won't be COVID. But I've also avoided the infection itself for the fear of the lasting effects of same. And that in itself has an emotional burden. So you've got the 50-cent tour for me on this, but I can't emphasize enough how important it is, Elise, that you try and put yourself first on occasion. It's worthy and it's appropriate for you to do so. During professional work time, it's entirely reasonable for you to schedule a support system for yourself as being part of your responsibility to all of us is to look after yourself. Is that clear?
It is. Thanks, Fred. And yeah, and it's, like I said, it's just great to even have you guys to meet with and to even just be able to say that and voice it, you know, just hear myself articulate it and voice it, but because it does gives it more kind of strength and yeah, so I'll be reaching out. I think I'll go through the city's navigator service that they have to hook you up with mental health professionals, and I will just you know, make sure that I ask the navigator to hook me up with the type of mental health professional who usually provides supervision to therapists, because I do see parallels between what's going on down here and the emotionality of it. I see parallels between it and clinical work. You know what I mean? So
Yes, love that. Okay. Would you like to move to your director's report, or do you want to have a chance to think on stuff?
I could go. Yeah, maybe a chance to think on stuff, I think. Yeah.
Maybe that could be mopping up. Moving then to
Elise, who's on the phone?
COVID-19.
We have a new caller on the phone.
Pardon me?
On the call.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
That could be Jay.
Good morning, it's Jay. I've been trying to have you guys click on me online, so I decided to call in.
Good. Jay, then before we move on, anything particular on your mind that isn't on the agenda that you want us to know about, that you're up to or want to emphasize?
No, just continue, Fred. I'm sorry for the interruption. I've literally been standing 20 minutes waiting to get clicked in.
Yes, I've been watching my cell phone light up and go dark and light. There isn't anything really we can do about it. Okay.
In that case, continue.
We
Thank you.
could see you, Jay. We just couldn't hear you. We could see you. Could you see us?
Yeah, I had waiting and it never clicked in, you know, I don't know. I
Huh.
don't know what's
Let's see, under the COVID-19 update, item number 5 on the agenda. Roseanne, anything further you want to add about your quilt, memorial quilt?
No, just very excited. Miranda will be sending me a little preview before the end of the week, and very anxious to see the finished product.
Yeah.
It's just exciting that it came to fruition, and it's going to be unveiled. It's really a fun thing to do, and
Wonderful.
people, I just can't even tell you, when they called, they were so touched that someone was doing something like this. I'm really hoping other communities replicate this and do something similar or even the same thing.
You know, I used to help on the AIDS quilt until they stopped me because I'm so clumsy. I kept stabbing myself and bleeding on the quilt. So they found some other way for me to be useful.
Well, we have a professional. This Ingrid
Yeah.
is a real
we-
quilter. Yeah,
We were all gung ho, yeah, huh? Well, all thumbs is what I am. so.
yeah.
But the quilts themselves, oh my gosh, the symbolism of a well-placed rose or a recipe card or stuff like that to trigger a memory of a person is really quite a wonderful experience for me. Vaccination site, Elise, want to talk about that, please?
So we as a vaccination site here at the senior center, we are only doing second doses. We have our second dose clinic for seniors. We've been doing second dose clinics for our phase 1 people, the first responders, the home health aides, all the medical workers that were eligible in phase 1. There, last week, we finished up the shot number 2 for that population, those populations. The first of our shot number 2, dose number 2 clinics for our 75 plus population, who we were able to serve here at the senior center. That's going to start this Thursday. And then the second group of the 75 plus people for their shot number 2 will be next Friday, the 12th. So we're still doing a little bit of work to get those second doses scheduled along working very closely with the health department. The state put in the kibosh on it. You know, it's difficult because we still have a list of seniors. We stopped maintaining, when they went to the 65 plus population and the 2 or more comorbidities, it was just immediately clear that it was way too large for us to even begin to keep our arms around. So that's when it did become really critical to, or really instrumental, that Senior Care at that point had put in a team of about 20 people who are now their vaccine help and support kind of helpline. And now we're sending people up to them for that because they do just have, they have so many resources compared to us and the staff here.
Yeah.
So we're sending folks in that newly eligible population up there, but we still have a list of about 15 or 16 seniors in the 75 plus population who still are waiting. And we finally, you know, we worked really hard, me and Ann, Michael, maybe to a lesser extent, but Ann and I worked hard to get all of our lists. We had a bunch of disparate lists. Rosalie helped so much. Thank you, Rosalie, to get those different lists together into one master list to try to get our arms around answering the question, how many in that 75 plus population still, you know, that we know of still need to access an appointment. We've got about 15 or 16 of them. And at this point, it's hugely frustrating because we just don't know, you know, the appointments come up in Danvers and that site in Danvers at the DoubleTree, and they go so quickly. We got the heads up last week on like Wednesday night. Carol called an impromptu meeting to say, okay, she knew that like 500 appointments would be added early the next morning in Danvers. And I was up at 7 o'clock, and on the computer, I had called a bunch of seniors to get their information so that I could just sit there and rapid fire, try to register a bunch of people without them even on the phone. But I couldn't even get through one, and the appointments were gone. 500 were just gone in an instant. And I'm fast on the computer,
Yeah.
but they were just gone. So I did find a Twitter account that's a bot, a bot that goes and scours that state vaccine site, and some other freestanding sites that are not part of that state mechanism, and it just scours those sites. And when there's any availability for any appointments anywhere, I get notified now because I changed my Twitter settings. So for that particular account, when it sends out a tweet, and it does, and mostly they're adding them at Gillette and Fenway. I mean, mostly Gillette, but you know what? You know, try to talk to someone who's over 75 from Gloucester and tell them to go to Gillette, and that's just
No way.
you know, yeah, and the seniors who have already said, if I don't get it in Gloucester, I'm not getting it, and that's that, you know. So it's very frustrating. The ones that get added to Danvers get scooped up so quickly that even if you get a heads up, which you usually don't get, it was just impossible to get any of those. So we're Cater is a great partner, and everybody's been so just so willing to give and do whatever it takes to get seniors past whatever the barrier may be, whether the barrier is technology or the barrier is transportation, or for some seniors, we know that it's both. It might be a double barrier of technology and then transportation. And but without the availability, without the slots opening up, it's really hard to not feel like you're coming up with a solution and you don't even know if that's the real problem yet. You know what I mean? Like, until those slots are available, if someone, you know, Kate has been so great, Felicia has been awesome in figuring out whatever we can do, but it's hard to even know what the barriers are until we get some availability of appointments to be able to actually sign some seniors up.
Yeah.
And that's been really frustrating because it hasn't been happening. I did, through that Twitter bot that I found, I can get everybody, if anybody's on Twitter, I can get you that account if you're interested. But through that, I found out yesterday that there was some appointments opened up at Lowell General Hospital that were because they were expecting a shipment of the new Johnson & Johnson 1-dose vaccine. And I put that out immediately on the Facebook page with some kind of misgiving, because I just don't want to put it out there and then have people just have it be a source of frustration. But I did post that on Facebook. I said, I know that a lot of folks can't get to Lowell, but for those that can, we want to keep you informed, and put it up with that message. And it felt like a huge win, because one person commented on that Facebook post and said, "Thank you, I just got an appointment." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I won," so, but that's kind of where we're at with it. And so it's, it's been very difficult. And some of the seniors, I got you 1 second, Rosalie, some of the seniors, because they see that second dose activity here at the senior center, we have had, you know, a few show up, and I had just a highly emotional senior crying out in front of the building, just crying and saying, I'm scared, please help me. And who it was really, you know, so yeah, people are really heightened. And until we start to really get more flow into those sites, I just don't know what the answer is. I'm sorry, Rosalie. Yeah.
Elise, did you know that the Leahy's doing another clinic over at the
Yes.
Alps?
Yes, and
My
that's what I,
husband, go
go
ahead,
on.
that's all. No, that's it.
So my understanding with Leahy is that anybody who has any kind of doctor in the Leahy system, primary care or other, which is a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people have had some interaction with Leahy because of Addison Gilbert being Leahy.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that they're still pulling those people that they're going to invite by lottery. Like they've got some kind of computer program that randomly picks people, and that's who they send the invitation out to. And if they can keep getting a decent supply and keep kind of poking away at that, at our greater population that way, there's some promise in that, because like I said, I perceive, and I don't know if the data supports this, but I perceive that most people probably have had some kind of interaction with a Leahy doctor, because Addison Gilbert is so important to most of our lives here in Gloucester. So so there's definitely some hope there. That feels hopeful that Leahy's doing that again. And they have been told that they're gonna keep getting that supply, but the state keeps saying things and then they reverse course and say something different pretty quickly anyway. Although the one thing they don't seem to be reversing course on is that they said they don't want the local health departments running the little local clinics like we were able to do here. And there might be some room for some legislative advocacy if people want to call the governor's office and say that you don't think that that's a good idea, that, you know, we want to remove barriers, not.
Yeah, and I'm thinking also what we're talking about are people who are 75 and older, who actually then are phase 1 and have been missed.
Well, they're phase 2 priority group 1, right? And they still just haven't been able to access it. And then when they added that phase 2 priority group 2, which is 65 plus or two or more comorbidities, they're not even asking people to document the comorbidities. So, I mean, it's kind of the Wild West. If you're willing to attest to something that isn't true and you really want that shot, I mean, it just, the number ballooned up so big, I think, when they went to that phase 2 priority group 2. That the folks who were left over from that priority group 1 of 75 plus are now, you know, duking it out. It feels a little bit like the Hunger Games. I mean, and that's not funny. You know what I mean? The Hunger Games is fine as a fictional movie, but like, you don't want it to feel like that for a potentially life-saving vaccine. So, you know, and we do just keep hearing that it's gonna be getting better, but I just don't know when. So,
okay. I wanted to talk about the reopening of Rosie's Cafe, because it's something I started, and so I can start it again when the time is right. As an acknowledgement of those persons who have had vaccine, which makes it a reasonable place for people to go without masks, would be to have lunch at the senior center in Rosie's Cafe. Is there an initial thought of, am I thinking too soon as a way of drawing people back into the building? If the building is not going to be used as a vaccination site, why can't it begin to reemerge as a place for gathering, for social interaction, for people who are no longer vulnerable to each other because they've gone through the 2 vaccinations and the antibiotic production time? As a means of celebration is what I'm wondering. If reinstituting Rosie's Cafe, working with Open Door to do cooking starting with 1 day a week, which was the way that the plan worked originally. Does that sound like a reasonable proposition for me to begin to work on?
I
How
don't
would
think
you
it's
do that, Fred? Would you have people come? You'd have to have a limited number. So would you have them call ahead and make a reservation?
Ordinarily, down it was the 1 day of the week where there was no need for reservation, but probably yes, I would think so that people could be asked appropriate questions as you were asked. You know, going through the vaccination process, filling out all the paperwork, but the really important questions I was asked again before they would let me sit down in the chair. And we'd have to be able to assure people in the building for lunch that day that it is indeed as safe a place as we offer it to be. So yeah, probably most definitely. Barry, any thoughts on this?
Well, the whole concept of Rosie's Cafe was, again, in addition to the meal, it was breaking the room up from a congregate setting into smaller tables, tablecloths, flowers on the tables. And the whole idea was hoping that people would use it as a cafe,
Yes.
that they would come in, have lunch, be on a table with a group of people and sit and talk with people their own age, people they haven't met, people they do know.
Yep.
So there's those little components. When we get to this point, and I sent Elise an email and she probably hasn't even seen it yesterday, from yesterday, because this whole issue of the startup, if you will,
Yeah.
and how it gets planned. And I'm not trying to put this on Elise because I know Elise has got more on her plate than any of us have in a million years. But we can, as the board, be thinking about this as you're doing, Fred, thinking about how this rollout is going to occur and then supporting Elise to have it occur.
Yes. And have Open Door be the major player on this rather than Elise.
Yes. But, and again, I talked to Julie over the weekend because again, we were talking about the resource listing. And I'm sure if we involved her in the conversations, explain the nature of it, what we're attempting to accomplish, changing from a congregate to a cafe type of setting,
Yes.
tablecloths, the flowers, and people just sitting around and talking. I know she'd support it.
Wonderful. I open this up to anybody around the table. Lots of people are on mute, but you can come off mute. Any contributing thoughts on this question? Val, please.
Yeah, I love the idea in terms of concept. My concern is that it might be too early. And I would say that it would be a good matter to bounce off the Board of Health and seek affirmation from the mayor if that's something that we want to try out, because I don't know, the more it's everyone's going to be excited when they've got the 2 vaccines, and I like that, but there's still a couple of thoughts where even people with vaccines still need to wear masks and you still have to be careful, and we're not completely sure how. It's not 100%, you know, I would hate to see us, you know, start to go back downhill. So that's my biggest concern. But I think with those safeguards of checking in with the Board of Health and the mayor in terms of their thoughts, that would be my concern. But the passion that we feel about getting people back to feel good about, you know, because everyone's struggling with the isolation right now. And so anyway, those are my thoughts.
Susan, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm just concerned that, you know, everything I hear about after you get the second shot or even the first shot is that you still have to be careful. And my worry would be that by opening up the cafe, we're sending a message that says, maybe you don't have to be careful. And in this time, I think messaging is extremely important.
Yes.
And we've just got to be very, very careful how we do this and how we present it.
Yep. Alicia, any thoughts?
I agree with what Susan and Val said about just being careful and making sure that we're not doing it too soon.
Yeah, well, I'd certainly expect that Karen Carroll would have to be fully on board with this. In fact, in a leadership position, making these decisions, because that is what she does so well and has done so well for us. Suzanne, any thoughts?
I agree with the other members of the board about being cautious, maybe getting all the ducks in a row.
Yep.
So when the time comes, you can, you know, launch it again. But I think it's still a little too early.
Rosalie?
I agree. I know that the seniors are dying for the senior center to open. And I'm afraid that they're gonna have a false hope thinking Rosie's place is open. So now senior center's gonna be open and they'll be so excited. So I think it's too soon. I agree. I think we should wait a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
maybe around Mother's Day, May,
Yeah,
something like that.
I think we'd do well if we were up and running by May. Because, I mean, there's work to be done in the kitchen as well. Roseanne?
I love your idea, and I know people are desperate to socialize and get out, so I kind of have mixed feelings. I love the idea of having a limited number of people. They would sign up ahead of time, social distance, and all it is soup and salad. So I really like that. And then on the other hand, I'm thinking, you don't want to be saying no to people, and I think the phone will ring off the hook that people will get excited. I
Yeah.
don't think they'll jump the gun if they know it's just one day a week and it's only the cafe. I think they certainly can understand that, especially if it were on the Facebook page, if it's in the bulletin, they'd fully understand what's going on.
Yes.
I really have mixed emotions, but I really like the idea, Fred. The sooner the
Good.
better.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Elise, what's your thought on this? I mean, it all comes back to your backyard.
I think it feels so hopeful and exciting to think about seniors. I could get choked up to think about seniors here eating and laughing and talking. Like, it just feels like, oh my God, such a lifeline. To me, I can imagine what a lifeline it might feel like to some of them. But I do feel like until there's more availability of vaccine appointments for those people right now who are so desperate and so emotional, if they were to hear that this other thing was even being like talked about right now, but they couldn't do it until they got a vaccine, and they had to think, well, wait a minute, I'm trying so hard and I can't. And so I wouldn't want to see any of that, like angst of people feeling like they're missing out on something and it's not their fault because they're trying really hard to get that vaccine appointment.
Yeah.
So, but I think that from what everyone is saying, that the timing of this hopefully would be that, like, and I love that we're talking about it, and there is going to be a timeline of steps that would need to be taken for it to be, feasible and then wise and all that stuff. It's a great idea that we're talking about it now. Would I want any senior who really loves this place to know that we're talking about it right now? I don't even know from a messaging standpoint, just because I think the emotionality I've seen is just so high that I wouldn't want anyone to think that there might even be a chance that they're going to miss out on something because they already feel like they're missing out on this important thing that they just don't know what to do about, Yeah. But again, we keep hearing that it's going to get better. More people will get vaccinated. We have to kind of have some faith in that process. And it feels great to think about doing that. And we have to start out slow again, one day a week is a nice slow way to reintroduce this place with the safety precautions in place that I believe we would still need to, from everything that I've heard about the precautions that the public health officials are saying we need even after the 2 vaccine doses. So yeah, I think it's great, and it's timely that it's on the agenda for the beginning of the discussion right now. But we'd certainly just need to look really closely at the timing of all of it for a lot of different reasons.
Jay,
Yeah. A couple of things. I'll start with the easiest and the most positive. First of all, and this is a one word reply: takeout. If the restaurants are doing it, why can't we do it? Having said that, I think that we're all spinning our wheels and concerned about what's happening. But Carol is on our board. She's the expert. She's the one who can answer all these questions probably better than any of us, except for Rose. She has experience. So we simply need to ask Karen what she, believes is the best case agenda for setting it up. But, also given the glacial pace that things move at, if we tried to set it up for next week, it probably wouldn't happen for 3 months anyway. So it's not too soon to get rolling. And if we,
Barry, you needn't nod your head quite so.
Let's get rolling, and then when and if things open up, we'll be ready. If we wait for things to open up and then start to get it ready, it'll be another. Well, I want to be positive, so I won't say.
I will talk with Julie about this and bring you something back next month for a meeting to.
Yeah, run it by Carol and ducks in a row. When and if we'll be ready to roll.
Yep.
And I like the takeout idea. You know, I've always thought it was a crappy location for a senior center, but it's a kick-ass location for a takeout.
And
Paint some lines and boxes on the sidewalk for people to stand in and,
Well,
you know, slide it out the window there.
Elise has run several versions of takeout, with long lines of cars coming through and all that. She's gotten very adept at doing this. I want to give you a thumbnail sketch on my reaction to the idea that people who've had the vaccine have to continue wearing a mask. The concern, from what I've been reading, the concern is not in the usefulness or effectiveness of the vaccine, but the human body doesn't waste antibodies. So that, for example, in your nose, high up in your nose, although you may well have antibodies which keeps your body healthy from infection, there are no antibodies there to react to drawing virus, particulate virus in the air up into your nose, and therefore infecting mucus that would be up there, which would not be infecting the person, but you become then a carrier of mucus that is infected with virus. And if you sneeze, although you are immune from the virus, you are capable of spreading the virus. And so that's the concern, is that if people who have had vaccines know that they're no longer vulnerable, they can still be spreaders and not know this. And you would test them and they would be virus negative, but in fact, up in the septum area, it becomes a cannon, essentially. So that's one of the reasons why people are encouraged to continue to wear masks, not that the vaccine is somehow inefficient. And if you note with even the vaccines that are not testing as high as 90 or 95%, nobody's going into the hospital that has had a vaccine so far. And that in itself is a huge, huge benefit. So.
Can I add my couple of thoughts here? So I am 63 and I am in the last batch that's going to come out.
Yes.
And so although I'm delighted that my colleagues and my friends that are in healthcare, first responders, 75 and now 65 are getting shots, and I rejoice in their happiness, I'm like the outlier that has to wait to the very last moment. So I'm dependent on everyone else to keep up their good social distancing habits to help me make sure that I'm not one that is going to get COVID and have a bad reaction. So it's kind of like we're all in it together down this last leg. And, if I were to think of things that we could do at Council on Aging, Jay's takeout idea, 9 people in the bus going to Stage 4 Park on a sunny day and sitting at outdoor tables, socially distanced, but being outdoors is so much safer. Just like a restaurant where you wear your mask until you get in your place, and then, those would be the types of activities that I think would be much more reasonable for us to be thinking about, rather than in a closed environment where I think I heard that it's like 9 times safer to eat outdoors than it is indoors. I don't know if that's true, but that's
and it was an interesting article in the most recent New Yorker on explaining why it is that countries with high dense populations don't have anywhere nearly the ratio of death and COVID, and it's because of the changing climate, just the general openness of things. That a lot has to do with the concentration of virus that people become infected, and that the numbers are very, very interesting as to why they're not materializing globally like they thought they would. Okay, well, I will go and talk with Julie to see what I can gather for interest in this, and it goes no farther than that.
Can I add one more thing, Fred?
Sure.
I had thought from the minute I sat in this chair last July, I wondered, and this might be pie in the sky, but this whole side of the building with the 2 doors, the side opposite Roger Street, we've got parking all along the building. If we gave up that parking, and right now, what do we need the parking for? You know what I mean? Like if we could get some, and this is where it might get pie in the sky, if we could get some of the Jersey barriers, when we put all the concrete barriers on Main Street so that the Franklin could eat outside and the jalapenos and all of our restaurants on Main Street could have al fresco dining, why can't we have Rosie's Cafe al fresco, Rosie's al fresco cafe? Like if we had some, you know, I wouldn't put outdoor tables without concrete barriers in place.
Oh,
'Cause
great, yeah.
we do have too much traffic in and out of this parking lot, especially people that are hitting that liquor store early in the day for bad reasons.
For
you know,
lunch.
like, right, exactly. So, but if we had some barriers and set up where all the parking spaces are out there now
Yeah.
with some tables, that seems like Val said, you know, outdoors is a lot safer and
Right.
boy, that would,
So-
that could maybe be a thing if we could get the DPW to just put the barriers out there and make
So-
it safe, you know?
That's
So
why
Elise,
both,
I chair P&D on the city council.
Yep.
And, you know, so we have zoned that is okay for all the businesses to do all the way up through December 31st, 2021.
Wow.
Flexibility. I think the only thing that you'd have to consider is seeing if we needed to amend the order to include Council on Aging, because it's a public venue, it's owned by the city. But that would be the avenue to take. So if you wanted to consider that, I would suggest that you, through the mayor, talk to Jill Cahill,
Yep.
because she's the one on the head of community development director. And she could easily amend what's in front of us, bring it back to city council for an approval, just to add that. But I think that's a pretty cool idea,
that's an excellent.
personally, in my opinion.
Fabulous. Yeah, excellent.
And then
See,
it could be,
Suzanne?
it wouldn't have to just be Rosie's Cafe al fresco. It could finally be bingo. We
Well,
could have bingo. You know? Not that people would be excited about bingo or anything, but they would, so.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
You know, it wouldn't have to be just the parking lot too. The tables could extend along out the side of the front, the Rogers Street side of the building where there is, you know, other businesses have taken over half the sidewalk, so
Yeah.
it's probably.
It's sunny too,
for-
you know, sunshine is
it's-
good.
It's
right?
a little more
Tables.
pleasant.
Picnic tables, so you wouldn't have to bring them in and out.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they're around. There's a lot of restaurants going under, so there's tables to be had for free. I think the brew pub is in the process of being sold, and it may not be sold, and it may be another business. So
Yeah.
if it's something we want to do, we can all keep our eyes open for.
Jay, would you ask around, Jay, would you ask around for that, please? For next month?
Say that again, Fred. You
I said,
broke up a
would
little.
you ask around for furniture availability and bring that back to us next month?
Yeah, I will do that.
Thank you,
We'll do that.
Susan.
Elise, and I'll send the zoning that's in place right now
Yes, please.
for the Jersey Barry, the flexibility on the streets.
Cool.
And I'll send it to you so you can share it with the board, but.
Thank
we'd
Susan,
have to
something on your mind?
Awesome.
Well, Elise, you're so busy. Would you like me to follow up on trying to get us added to that zoning regulation?
I would love that, Susan. Yeah, that
That's your heart, Susan.
would make me light up. I would love that, Susan. Yes, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. Felicia, how will this affect bus traffic around the building?
Oh, yeah.
As long as they stay in the parking lot, we'll be fine because we stay on Rogers and Manuel Lewis. We would take a break sometimes, but that's over near the, that's not near the senior center. That's on the other side of the lot. So
Yep.
as long as we know that there are tables and Jersey walls out there, the drivers won't go in. We'll be fine.
Fine, cool. Man, that's a great idea. Cool. Cool. Let's see, anything further on the COVID issue? Should we move into old business and want to just give us some wonderful upgrade, Susan Goodall?
Okay, first of all, Barry has done a fantastic job of getting everything out for review, and I'll let him update you on where all that stands. But I'd like to schedule a meeting for the working committee for the end of the week to talk about where the approvals are and whether we want to post what we have and how that procedure is going to work in any case. And also to talk about the suggestion of adding the bus to the resources, because it would be nice to have it stand out on its own, but I think we all need to talk about how that would work and what the implications are. So
Have you got a date and time in mind?
I was thinking Friday, but I don't know, that gives 5 days almost for the responses to come in and see where we stand. And it really depends on Elisa's calendar and what,
That's what I was gonna ask. Elise, have you got time on Friday?
I was just actually looking on my calendar. Let's see, wait a minute. I do have time on Friday, yes, and I have one more quick thing to report on too before we get off of COVID, but yes, I have time on Friday.
All right, so Susan, do you want to pick a time on Friday?
what time would you like, Elise?
How about like 2 o'clock-ish, Susan?
That'll work. I'll put it down for 2 and I'll send out a notice to everybody.
Okay.
Oh, awesome, thank you, yay. And then the one more quick COVID related thing is I just
Yeah.
wanted to let everybody know that, the phase that we're in right now includes public housing. So there'll be a first dose clinic right now, tomorrow for the Clark Building and Lincoln Park. And then there'll be Sheedy Park and Poplar Park on Friday. And then McPherson first dose is going to be on Monday. So that's really heartening. So I just wanted to let everybody know about that.
Good. Okay. So let's see.
And those clinics are at the sites. Those are going to be at the housing sites. So
Yeah, actually delivered right to the apartment doors.
Yeah,
are they not?
yeah.
Elise,
Okay,
go ahead.
are we back to me?
Yes.
sorry.
Let me turn it over to Barry so he can give everybody an update of where he stands and all the marvelous things he's done the past couple weeks.
Okay, I don't think I can live up to that.
Yes, you can.
We have 9 resources: Action Inc., Element Kia, the Open Door Sawyer Free, Wish of a Lifetime, Senior Care, Gloucester Housing Authority, and Cater. Some of them come back quickly and some of them not so fast. As I've been talking and I've had to reach out to a number of the resources, what I'm hearing from the resources is that they're buried with remote work and trying to keep up with everything that's going on. And I was sending these out by email, which just added to the list of things that they get to look at every day. But in Felicia's case, Felicia was able to turn it around in a day, and it's great. This morning we've discussed, and we've now added another one. It will be the Go Bus because it stands on its own, and it'll be one more, if you will, way to get the word out to the seniors through the resource list. So with that all said, again, 4 of the requests for approval of the listings, which are all drafted, went out yesterday, and we're just waiting for those to come back. And I'll send out to Rosalie a draft that I did for the Go Bus, because I'm sitting here working on these things and they're easy to put out. So that's where it all stands. And again, I agree with Susan. Once we get them back, there's about 2 days of, if you will, procedural putting it into the directory, making sure all the hyperlinks work and all of that stuff. It's ready to go up.
I can tell you that there's an enthusiasm in Barry's prose about these organizations. It's a pleasure to read them. They're informative, but they're also encouraging, so that a link would be an obvious next move, having read his narrative. It's you've set a really a high standard bar, Barry, for the initial input into this is it's a real achievement. I appreciate your hard work. I do.
Everybody this morning, and I'm happy to hear it, everybody this morning has talked about partnering. And as I've been out there working with these companies and talking to people, I hear the same thing coming back from them. They're looking to partner because nobody can go it alone. Roseanne, you said you partnered with the museum and they picked it up and ran with it. And this is what we're all seeing as we're out there doing these things. It's pretty remarkable what you can get done when you partner with folks.
On this island, absolutely. Okay, let's see. Speaking of partnership with 1623 Studios and the virtual senior center, Base, has that moved forward?
It did. It is continuing to move forward. I think all the COA directors of the 4 Cape Ann communities all got kind of pulled away. There was just a ton of enthusiasm. We were going to get so much content up there, and then it became vaccine world, so we all kind of got pulled away a little bit and had to repeat Mabel and Jerry quite a few times on that virtual senior center channel. But I lately, just seeing the frustrations with the vaccine rollout, I've become more acutely aware of the fact that people really still need some things to distract them. We've got John Hicks, who used to play guitar and ukulele. I think he's particularly fond of ukulele here. He is going to record himself doing some Irish songs that we found copyright free. And we're going to distribute the lyrics to those songs to our seniors. I've talked to Senior Care. We're going to get those out with Meals on Wheels. We're going to get them with the grab and go lunches. We're going to promote the fact that that's going to be on that virtual senior center on March 11th. And that's the day that Senior Care is doing their corned beef and cabbage special meal for Meals on Wheels and for grab and go. So we're going to have that premiere of that coincide with that meal. That's going to be on at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'll distribute the lyrics so that he's going to encourage people right in his broadcast, right in his performance, to sing along, or okay, on this song, maybe just sing along to the chorus. So we'll get those out, under maybe non-vaccine sucking up all my resources times. Maybe I would have liked to do something a little bit more substantial for St. Patrick's Day, but it is what it is. So, So yeah, I'm just happy that we're going to be able to do that. And Jennifer Lee Levitz, our videographer, has been fantastic in being able to just take the ball and run with it. She's been collaborating well with the other senior center directors. She worked with Nancy over in Manchester to
Yes.
find a particularly good space. Fred helped us, to get Jennifer access to some good equipment from 1623. So we're trying to get more exercise and, movement-based stuff up on that virtual senior center. So it's creeping along, maybe not at the pace that it came out of the gate with, just because of vaccine stuff, but we're still
Can
getting.
I add to that, Elise?
Absolutely,
I
yeah, please.
found the gal to do the exercise classes for you that will charge one flat fee, and you can show it as many times as you want. So I have to send you her contact info.
Right, she was at Liacono, right? I remember that
Yep,
name.
Chris
Okay.
Liacono, yep.
Yep, that sounds great, Roseanne. Anything we can get put up there that's movement based, I think is
Yeah.
going to be excellent for
She
this.
was more than willing. She was kind of excited about it.
Good,
yeah.
yep.
Partnership, wonderful. Yay. Is there anything that I can do on the 1623 end that needs doing in order to move this along?
My understanding, and speaking with Jennifer, is that they've been really great. So no, I think that's good right now, Fred. I think one of the things that I was thinking of asking you for, and again, just with the resources of everyone right now, I don't know what's feasible, but I really love the idea of somebody making a meal with ingredients that you can get from the open door, and maybe delivering that finished meal to people that day so that they can be eating the meal, that they're watching how easy it is to make that meal, and they're knowing that they can get all that stuff from the open door. And I might want to talk to you some more about how to maybe reach out to Saskia, is that her name? Maybe the
That's
person.
right. That's a Newton. Yeah.
Cooking shows. And then we were looking forward to, in the spring, I'm thinking maybe April, maybe even early May, I don't know, but I would love to do another kind of do something that ties in the virtual senior center with like a drive-through gift bag event, something spring related. Maybe if we could get everybody, if we could reach out, I'm gonna, actually Kristen over in Essex we had talked about it. She's gonna reach out to backyard growers, but maybe if we could distribute some seeds and get some content up about what to do with those seeds, we could maybe get a broadcast involving them. But for the folks who really aren't into the virtual senior center, who don't want to sit inside and have anything to do with that, the gift bag distributions really did go well. So I'd like to maybe get something going for just a gift bag distribution for the spring, for something maybe April or May.
And I heard that there was tax preparation sessions going on at the library. Is that working well?
It is. So, and one last thing on the virtual senior center too, is that there's going to be a lot around the beginning of April for baseball themed stuff, where everybody seems excited about opening day. So that's going to be some themed stuff too, that's going to be on the virtual senior center and tied in with hot dog meals and stuff like that. But yes, the tax preparation has begun. It started last week on Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. Our volunteers, we have 2 volunteers from the AARP who are meeting upstairs in that great space that that Fred helped to hook us up with over at the library.
Good.
The library staff has just been amazing. Jenny and Beth are just incredible,
That's
and
cool.
the AARP volunteers have been incredible. Right now, we've got Michael over there because they needed one person to assist with
This is
letting
Michael Feeney, right?
Michael Feeney, our Michael on staff.
Yeah.
Someone needs to open the door for folks between 9 and 10 because the library isn't open yet. And then from 10 to 12, because it goes from 9 to 12 on Tuesday and Wednesday. From 10 to 12, he just assists with making sure everybody is social, properly distanced and kind of keeping the flow of people in. I would prefer to have a volunteer in that role and have Michael here.
Yeah.
If anybody might have any time or could think of any volunteers, we could go back to our old volunteer list.
Would you send that around to all of us, that the time things to give us just a worksheet to work from?
Okay, yep, wait a minute, send,
I mean, I could be there for part of that time.
ask. So yeah, so but for now it's working out fine to have Michael there in that role.
Good.
We've done the math. We've served, I think last week, he had said, I asked Michael if I should promote it in the hard copy newsletter, and we did the math and realized, no, we shouldn't, because we don't want to frustrate people. And we already had 46 people who had either been served already or scheduled already, but we've got like a couple hundred on the wait list too. We were doing the math of how many appointments they can do and how many days a week they're available. And I think we're already at capacity, frustrating.
You need more time at the library.
We don't. The library is definitely not the holdup. The holdup seems to
Okay.
be the AARP volunteers, and they're trying to fix that problem.
Okay.
They've realized that we're gonna hit capacity issues and that there's more of a demand than we have supply for appointments right now. So they're trying to add an additional volunteer. And the library, again, has been fantastic with saying, okay, one more, sure, we'll put a table over there, you know, and working with whatever their needs are. So that's going yeah, really well. And Michael's been doing a great job of keeping his arms around that. So that's good.
Moving on to new business, Barry, you asked me to quote the city ordinance that was really the mission statement of the founding of COA, to open a basic discussion on that. Would you lead on that, please?
Oh, very quickly. As I've been working on this project, it struck me that I had to keep going back to the mission statement within the city ordinance and remembering what it is we're responsible for. Fred, do you know where the mission statement that's in the agenda came from? Because that's not out of the city ordinance.
I
That's not
I thought it was a quotation.
And-
I got it on the city's webpage.
And Barry, can I just say something? You are spot on, because we are supposed to use the ordinance as our guide.
correct.
But have I got the wrong wording here? Because I thought that was the quoting of,
That is, then this is kind of why I wanted it on the agenda, but I also had a broader perspective. The one that's in the agenda is not.
oh,
Anybody, the ordinance is online, so you can go out and get it.
that's what I thought I was quoting.
I'm just gonna read through them very quickly because
Yeah.
I found myself having to keep saying, okay, how does this tie to our mission?
Yeah.
And the 5 missions basically identified the needs of the elderly population in the community. And I think we do a fair job of that, and we can do more. Educate the community regarding issues facing seniors and advocate. Really important word that I kept coming back to on their behalf. Promote the development of programs and activities. What have we been doing this morning? Talking about activities and programs, as well as coordination of existing services to fully fulfill identified needs. Someday, Val, we got to go back and we got to fix the word identification in there. It says identification needs. No, we don't want to be checking people's IDs. It's identified needs. Maintain a working relationship with government and private agencies and organizations. The whole issue of the participation is doing just that. It's reaching out to other organizations, having And especially for Elise, having that first name relationship with, she can pick up the phone or email somebody quickly and gets done. And the last one is be cognizant of relevant legislative initiatives and work to respond accordingly. The only thing I'll say beyond that is I find it very helpful to keep coming back and focusing on those as I'm thinking about just the resource list. And so,
Barry, might we have that up here as a part of the template on our agenda? That's the mission statement should appear on every agenda.
It's simple enough. It took me a grand total of 3 minutes to.
Yeah.
Brett, that's a really nice thing. We do that like on the Gloucester School Committee. We start every meeting with mentioning the mission of Gloucester Public Schools is
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. It's kind of nice. And I've always thought that when I was on the school committee, I had it memorized, and it was always good to know if people
Yeah.
asked. So I think it would be good for us to,
It'll just be part of the stationery.
yeah, exactly.
I agree. I place it right on the agenda. It would only take up a grand total of 3 inches.
Yeah.
On the agenda or on the back page or wherever. It's
Exactly.
just a quick reference to that.
Okay, we'll do that.
The only other thing I'll throw into this, as I've been working with the reaching out to people, and one of our goals, reaching out to agencies and organizations, Element Care has a website, and they have on there a technology, which is, if anybody wants to write it down, it's care.coach. They're using an avatar, which is inside of a tablet that is actually, believe it or not, backed up by human beings 24/7. So the avatar, in addition to talking with seniors and this sort of thing, is also opened by 24/7 people to check in on seniors. The reason I'm mentioning Care.coach, if you go on there, the developer of this software, obviously it take you a whole 5 minutes to read the web page, but the thing I would love people to focus on is under the press and publications button. There's an article called What Happens, it's by Wired Magazine, What Happens When We Let Tech Care for Our Aging Parents? And it's fascinating to read and then look at that technology that they show on their website. It gives you a glimpse into the future of, for those people that can't come to the senior center, the truly isolated, the truly disabled, can't come out of their homes, the potential of technology for the future. That's all I got.
Oh. Any further commentary on this particular subject?
I think it's perfect timing because I know our new CAO, Nicole Keyser, is working on exactly what Barry has just mentioned, is the consistency between our ordinance and what should be on the city website. And then that we all work towards that mission that is on our ordinance.
Right.
And that becomes our gatekeeper in terms of our roles and responsibilities. And if for some reason we are unsettled with something that is on it, then the process would be to resubmit an ordinance change.
Yeah, because
but
otherwise you run, it's
becomes
constant
our
mission
Bible.
creep. It's constant mission creep otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
For the minutes, please, could you spell Nicole's last name for me, please?
I think it's Kieser, and she told me you pronounce it Keyser.
Thank you.
Let me just make sure that I've got
I have
that.
not met her. This is one of the things that this damn COVID thing is, that it's very hard to meet somebody new, particularly in the
Yeah.
city's administration. Ordinarily,
Right.
we'd just swing by the office in, 10 minutes.
Kieser. I said
Yes,
it right.
Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you. But anyway, I haven't had a chance to meet her. Maybe at some point she might come to a meeting.
Sure.
Okay. well, we
If
can
you
figure-
want, I'd be happy to invite her through the mayor, or you can do that, Fred, as the chair.
No, and the timing of that, we can settle that up next month. It being appropriate time for her to come when we have something really to offer. Let's see. Elise, where are we with the telephone system?
The telephone system, we've got the new phones set up, the new phone numbers, everybody has their new phone. They don't ring because nobody knows the new phone numbers because they're now on the city's, the rest of the city's, phone numbers scheme kind of with the 325 and then,
Yes,
So until we start promoting that number, they're not gonna ring. But the way I would like to start doing it is to wait until the old number, what the IT called porting it over, like PORT. They
Yep.
said they need to port over the old number and that takes 10 to 14 days. And we're coming up on about 10 days since Ryan said he put the request in to the phone company. That's out of our control. I think that's like a Verizon thing. Or whoever thing. So they need to get it so that people will dial the old number, the number that they know, but the new phones will ring. Then
Yeah.
we can start promoting the new number too. They'll also ring with the new number. So right now, Ryan had sent me like a really long email of this is kind of what he needs from me at this point. I just answered him with some clarifying questions that I need before I can get there, but we're moving along and it's pretty exciting because I mean, I've had some seniors lately. There seems to just have been a small rash of people leaving me messages, just complaining about the message that is on the auto attendant, which of course has been driving me crazy for a long time. So,
Yep.
So it's very timely and that porting over is going to be taking place at any time now. And we will be able to record a new auto attendant message that points people to names and phone extensions of
that are relevant.
that are actually here. So
Yeah.
that's going to be huge. When we have the ability to do things like meet as a team and not have to stop our discussion every 5 seconds to dive on the phone, you know what I mean? When that auto attendant can just take it and forward it to the right extension, and then we get the voicemail. That in and of itself is going to be huge. And so we're almost there. I think that I would wager to say that by the next time we meet, I'm going to be happily reporting on how the new phone system is working.
Wonderful. I want it to be clear. This absolutely is a result of Michael Hale taking control over this issue because of the demands on his office and on IT are astounding. And he listened to me when I spoke to him of the urgency of getting the phone system up and running. And he made this happen. He just did. Even when he was away on vacation, he was texting back and forth in order to get this responsibility prioritized. It took a couple of paragraphs for me, but he picked this project up and made it happen. So if you have an opportunity to thank Michael Hale, please do, because everybody's tugging at him and he responded for us in a serious, concrete way.
I did thank him, Fred. I think, any other members of the board that want to thank him as well. It seems with his responsibilities and the many ways he's being pulled, he probably can't be thanked enough.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, it's
My
going to be
feeling,
hugely
exactly.
important.
When I get this Zoom tomorrow, I'll find out exactly what part of the meeting it was on, and I'll forward the Zoom link to Mike and I'll copy the mayor's office.
Thank you.
Be nice to give him a little bit of recognition.
Because really, he did yeoman's work. Okay, quickly going around the table, anybody have any thoughts on subjects that we've already been through? That's you've had a light bulb go off. Susan, you're on mute. Susan, you're on mute.
The dogs have been, didn't get a walk this morning, so they've been a little noisy.
It's cold out there, Susan. I walk
They're
my
not-
dog 2.5 miles and it is very cold out
Yeah,
there.
that's what I told them. They just don't believe me.
Yeah, and my best girl in the world, she knows that there's it's not an electric property line, but she knows since she was 8 weeks old where she can go and how often. So she is out by herself, happily, without me. But she never runs away and always comes when she's called. So she's best girl in the world. Susan, anything else that you had on your mind?
I just want to ask Val if she would send me how to contact Jill Cahill.
Okay, I already sent you the zoning.
Okay, great.
I sent that already and I asked Fred or Elise to send it out to all of us. So I'll, we can work on that. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Jay, any final thoughts?
Yeah, just quickly. When you talk to Michael Hale and thank him, I guess some of us already have. This is to the board. Let's think about maybe putting a takeout window on the front of the building, which would require someone installing, an opening window out there. I think that would be more aesthetically pleasing if that turns out to be something, we can do and want to do.
Yeah.
And I guess that would probably require a little work from DPW to perhaps change one of those windows, or, let's put that on the list of, if this thing does get rolling, that it would just be so much more aesthetically pleasing to have the window out front.
Good idea.
It's probably, and also when you speak with Julie, Fred, I think it's something that Julie might be very interested in, to have a downtown location for food distribution,
But that's part of that's fine.
right
Elise,
up her alley. You
Elise?
would love that. No.
So I do want to give everybody the kind of final thoughts thing, but I kind of, in my mind, had thought that we were waiting on the director's report until we got through the other agenda items. Because I do have a couple quick things that to report on that are not on the agenda. And Jay, that's what kind of got me wanting to jump in, is
You
because
have the floor.
I
You have
have a meeting next week with Jen to talk about getting the mobile market back down here once a
Yeah.
week to get the food pantries mobile market. And then they also, Julie and Jen both had reached out to try to collaborate to find a way to get more of their prepared meals into the hands of our seniors. So what you just said about them wishing they had a distribution point here in town is right on the money, and is queued up for a discussion next week.
That's been a long time goal of theirs. 10 years, 50, I don't know how far back it goes, but they've been wanting to do that for a long time. So Julie will be excited.
Yeah, and their prepared meals are beautiful. I mean, I've never seen the mobile market, but boy, I can't believe how beautiful their prepared meals
Oh, yeah.
are. That's gonna be
Oh, yeah, that's Nora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, so should we continue? Do you want to keep going around to
No,
everybody?
I'm sorry. You have priority on time. Go ahead.
Okay, so just very quickly, to just, and I like doing it this way, Fred, with the other agenda items and then the director's report, especially with, so anyway.
We'll move it down.
I just want to let everybody know that I've secured a time once a week that is in the newsletter for March, that Junie is going to be offering an art class via Zoom, which I think is really nice to offer out to people. I got Ann for more hours for the next 6 weeks, which I'm pretty excited about. We got Ann, our outreach social worker.
That is directly by intervention by the mayor in order to enable that.
Yes, the mayor was fantastic in enabling that. And to just very quickly let the group know that there's a formula grant that's instrumental to our funding here that is moving right along. That I got the mayor recently executed that contract, and that's moving along and doing what it needs to do. So that's all. That's my director's report.
That formula grant is funded?
That formula grant is from the State Executive Office of Elder Affairs.
Yeah.
And it's based on like the census, how many seniors we have in the community,
Yep.
based on the US Census. They level funded it from last year. And
Okay.
because of COVID, they streamlined a bunch of the requirements. There used to be like a spend down process where you had to report to them what you spent it on, and any money that was left over got subtracted from your next year's grant. They
Yes.
eliminated all of that, which was great news for the new director, was that they streamlined that whole process. So
Good.
that's been really good.
Good. So this is real money. Good.
Yeah, $88,000. Yeah.
Very good.
Yay.
Very good. Suzanne, anything on your mind?
Just maybe a suggestion. We had talked about inviting the new CAO to a meeting at some point.
Yes.
And Val, do you think maybe moving forward, Chris Carranza, because he's going to be doing constituent services, do you think at some point we should invite him to a meeting?
Yeah, either they're both going to support us in different ways. The mayor's CAO is to really assist her.
Mhm.
Chris's focus will be more on constituent services. So
I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was back.
them on our calls, and when we have a matter that needs
Yeah.
to be resolved. For example, if we bring Jill Cahill, if Susan can kind of move this along, it would be great to bring Jill to the next board meeting. and, send her the ordinance and just say, we'd love you to come and talk about this. And, that would be a good opportunity to include maybe Nicole, just to sit in and hear it and do that as the early part of the meeting,
But we could
Mhm.
have a more limited agenda to give these persons a chance to kind of introduce.
Exactly.
themselves and come over in.
They're both, the mayor's office is extraordinarily busy, so I think if we can kind of hone in on a matter in front of us, I think your idea is a good one, Suzanne.
Roseanne, anything further on your mind?
Just wanted to ask Elise what day her corned beef and cabbage dinner was.
It's on March 11th, Roseanne.
Thank you.
And Roseanne, I want to let you know that I spoke with the Boston Globe writer of that article, and he said, should I say that the whole COA board worked on the memorial quilt, or should I single out Roseanne Cody? And I said, oh, single out Roseanne Cody. So just FYI. So my apologies to the rest of the board. I told him to single out Roseanne, so.
Thank you.
Felicia,
I'm good. Nothing else to add.
how are things going with the dialysis treatments?
Things are going well. We have 7 customers that we're taking right now.
Yeah.
They go 3 times a week
know.
consistently. So, and we pull them from Gloucester, Essex, and Ipswich.
Yes.
We don't have anyone from Hamilton or Rockport right now, but it's going well. It's very smooth. The clinic is happy. The customers are happy because Kata picks them up.
Yeah,
They don't have to worry about a ride, so it's going very well.
very good. Very
Yep.
good. Susan, anything further? No. Val, anything further?
No, I'm excited about this zoning idea. It's something that I feel, I like that Susan's willing to look into that. And I think that would be really a deliverable that would be very meaningful. So thank you.
Barry, last word?
Just 2 things that other people have talked about. With Jay talking about that takeout window,
Yeah,
Elise, could you imagine setting up the front windows as long as we're not able to have the market, the food pantries market accessible to the customers, to the people that come to the center? Can you imagine putting that in the front window and then handing it, they pick it, they hand it out the window to the person? Just a thought. There's so many creative things that could come out of that. I know you talked about getting the market back and put that together with the takeout window and the people with just a table that's kind of up on a little bit so that all the produce is there and they take what they want and they handed it out the window. Just a thought.
that's worthy of a number on the next agenda. How do you want to title that, please?
How do we want to title?
An item for the next agenda. I'd like to talk more about that subject of the mobile market.
Returning the market or that concept of takeout window or?
Just the takeout window.
The distribution in advance of reopening. How's that?
Yeah,
Distribution of market materials, the food pantry market produce in anticipation of reopening.
yeah, because somehow we can use the restrictions as an advantage in order to float new ideas. And yes, very good. Okay, one and all. Anything else for recommended to be as an agenda item for the next meeting? Well, I'm always open to things as they occur to you during the month. You can drop me a line anytime. With that, you have a motion to adjourn, please.
Sure, motion to
Thank you,
adjourn.
Harold, one and all. Thank you for
Second.
attending. This is, as usual, a very good meeting, worth the time and effort. Without question.
Thank you all, really.
Bye-bye.
Right,
Well,
Elise,
you guys
thank
are
you for
fantastic.
everything you're doing.
Yes,
Thank you, Elise.
thank you.
Yeah, and really, this care for the caregiver is essential.
I will loop back to you, Fred, so that you know I've made good on that
Good.
help thing, yeah.
Really, because I know of what I speak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I do too. That's what, it's just, things bubble it back up to the front of
Yeah.
my brain, and that's where it is right now. So I gotta just act on it, which I will today.
Thank you.
Good.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Nice
Thanks.
Have a great day.
faces.
Have a good day.
Bye.